Hi all, I'm here with a quick reading for this now moment. So whenever you see this video, it's applicable. However, I was tuning into the energy of today for the collective and what we are experiencing, what might be helpful for us to be aware of, to have on our radar in this moment in time. And what came up for our mental space is the Page of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. 2 5s are definitely indicative of change. So we're now familiar with that and we can just roll with that, surf it as best as we can. The Page of Swords, what's showing up to me in this moment in time is more of this tight rope walk that's happening. This energy feels very ungrounded, not exactly on stable, firm ground. There's this feeling of research, overstimulation in the mental space. And that can leave us feeling a bit spacey, a bit unsure, and basically we're not incredibly present if we're in that mind space of overstimulation, okay? And so the recommendation in the mental space is to tune into our faith-based system, remember that, and that is really a lot of inner quiet work that requires us to be in a more present now moment and less of a worrying about the future, looking back on the past, kind of merry-go-round carousel that can happen in the mind. So this is definitely speaking to getting very centered, very present, and in the moment. Five of Wands showing up is, it feels to me like a lot of different opinions, a lot of other people having an impact on the mental space in this moment in time. And that's why I feel like, well, we talked about it in the video yesterday, the recommendation to unplug, especially during this week, especially with this feeling of ungroundedness. It would make a lot of sense to step away from overstimulation of social media and mass media just for a little bit. It doesn't have to be permanent, just for a little bit to gain some clarity. The colors that are showing up here, I'm seeing these yellows. Feels like it's affecting the solar plexus, which is our mental processing center. And so we really would like to balance ourselves out, to feel in our power. And that can really be done by going within and tuning out some of these external influences. In our heart space, we have the Page of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and the Death and Rebirth card. Very nice to see cups in the heart space. That makes sense to me. Page of Cups feels like a new way of loving, and the Ten of Cups feels like holding on to the most beautiful vision of emotional fulfillment that we have. With the Death and Rebirth, the card of transformation here, I truly feel like as a collective we are undergoing heart awakenings, heart activations. Our hearts are incredible transmitters and receivers. They speak to one another in a way that our energy and our words do not. They radiate and magnetize all at the same time so much information. So what type of information do we seek to radiate and magnetize? More of this beautiful vision and the understanding that during a heart transformation, a heart activation, what can happen is we learn that there are all other ways of loving that maybe we were never taught or we hadn't witnessed or we weren't aware of even existed within us. And it's truly the concept of unconditional love, where we can learn to love and hold space for anyone without expecting something in return, without them ever knowing. It's really a beautiful space to be in, and sometimes it takes a little bit for our hearts and our minds to get on board with one another. So I feel like we're in this beautiful space to go with the flow with this, to be open as the heart upgrades into new ways of loving, into new ways of sending out the most beautiful, radiant energy of unconditional love. Yes. And so in our in our action spaces, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the World card, and the Queen of Pentacles. For the collective, the actions that are recommended in this moment in time, according to this reading, are to work on some spiritual ritual that assists in daily grounding and daily connection to your faith-based system. So to discuss the differences between ritual and habit or routine are that when we create a ritual for ourselves, it requires for us to be very present in the moment, very focused on the task at hand, and not as concerned about getting through it or the future, the past of it. So I like that she's got a candle in this card. I feel like lighting a candle helps us to tune into the fact that this is a moment of ceremony, a moment of importance that we're taking for ourselves. This could be in your morning, this could be in your evening, any time of day, really, where you're just taking that moment to tune in. Maybe it's before morning prayer or intention setting, and ensuring that it's coming from a space of focused intention as opposed to just moving through the actions. Right? And this is also an excellent reminder that when we seek to embody our higher selves, it shows up very much in the physical. It shows up in how we maintain our car and our home and our physical vessel, how we show up to the world. So however that feels good to you to start or to revisit, feel free to go right ahead and do that. As we are always transforming ourselves and evolving, we can start with our very physical surroundings, our environment, and create one that reflects us in our highest form. I feel good about that. I feel like that's something that is happening in this moment in time for all of us. And then with the World card, there's a closing of cycles. I'm not even going to say cycle because I feel like it's many, many cycles. This feels karmic. This feels beyond that. And in this closing out, even though her expression is one of peace and being very much in that flow, in that surrender, in that now moment, sometimes as we close out cycles, it can feel unsettling and ungrounding. So we are doing our best in this moment in time to bring ourselves back to center throughout this. I love that the Queen of Pentacles showed up in our action space. Every time I work with tarot cards, I'm grateful for the different imagery that shows up. Today, drawn to her necklace and her clothing, which are showing me a lot of ancestral connection. So there's this reminder of our extensive lineage, like thousands and thousands and thousands of ancestors who have taught us, who are walking with us, who are supporting us. So it's sort of like we've been through this many times on this planet, if you're open to that idea, and that we're very strong and very supportive, and to embody more of that inner wisdom and knowing that we have everything we need. We have all of the resources physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually available to us as we center ourselves and take a moment to see what we truly have and create the reality around us. I also love that she's got like what looks like a holly just above her third eye. To me, this is like, all right, we know we're headed into the holiday season, and so let's embody that ancestral wisdom, that inner peace and calm, and less of this worrying about what everybody else is thinking and doing and how we've always done things. And how do we shift that into a new perspective, a new way of being that honors our highest selves in this vision. So this is really more about us detaching from old ways and ways that we're no longer serving, and allowing that heart to go through its transformation, its new forms of radiating, its new ways of allowing love in and radiating that out, as well as creating our physical environment to be a space that supports us as the highest versions of ourselves. Whatever it is that you can manage in this moment in time, work with that. Start there. And then the overall card reading is the Two of Pentacles. This truly feels to me like we are juggling two levels of consciousness. And so we're shifting into the highest level of consciousness yet that we've experienced. To do that requires a lot of grounding, a lot of faith, a lot of knowing that you're supported on your journey, and kindness and compassion for self and others throughout the process. Lastly, this card, it is the Nine of Cups. This showed up while I was shuffling, and it was at the top of the deck when I was done. I feel like this message wanted to be seen for the collective. This is the card of wish fulfillment. This is the card that pretty much says it's all going to be good. It's all going to be very heart-based and loving and expansive. And that is the energy here portrayed in the card. It's almost like once we just finally let these hearts guide us and radiate and heal and share with the world the beautiful radiance that we have, that unconditional love for the planet, for the collective, for the generations to come, for the past, for the future, all of it, that these beautiful concepts of emotional fulfillment really come into our reality. So that being said, I hope this is helpful for everyone, and I hope it resonates on one way or the other. Be gentle with yourself today. Ground as much as you can. If you're experiencing that heart activation, that heart awakening, tune into self in gratitude that this is shifting, and that it's going to allow for a different way of viewing others in a more loving light. And keep up the good work. Incorporate those rituals. Start small and start at home. Start with your car, whatever. Much love to all of you. If you'd like a personalized reading with me, feel free to message or to book directly online at thrivetriberi.com. Much love to you all. Have a great week.